Hey there, I am the happiest person in the world. I'm going to tell you why and how you can be too.
Hey y'all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I'm Linnell. I sold everything and now I live on cruise ships full time. Follow me on my journey from poverty to paradise.
About a year ago, I looked at my life and I realized something. I wasn't at my happiest. So you know what I did? If something isn't working, then you change it. So I sold my car, I sold my house, I quit my job, I got a divorce, I got rid of 99% of my possessions, and I moved here on a cruise ship. Cruise ships, to be exact. I travel the world now on various cruise ships. I stay on cruise ships for maybe 2 weeks to a month. I even lived on one cruise ship for 2 months, Carnival Venezia. How did I get here and why am I doing this now? As the name of the channel suggests, I grew up in poverty. I grew up as one of 7 kids to a single mom in Orlando, Florida. We were those kids who were poor but didn't really know we were poor because our mom did everything she could to make sure that there was food in our belly and a roof over our head. And that was really all we needed as a kid, security and stability. After I grew up and I had my own family, I made sure I did the same thing for my 3 kids. Me, along with my husband of 24 years, we raised 3 kids in Orlando, Florida, and I had what I felt at the time was the greatest life. A house, a husband, 3 kids, a job that I loved, vehicle, bills were paid, everything was great. We raised our kids to be law-abiding citizens. They all have college degrees now. I have 5 grandkids, but unfortunately along the way, my husband passed away from an incurable disease, gout. And that's when my life totally changed. So I had no husband, my kids were all grown, I didn't have grandkids yet. I was in transition between jobs because I had left a career of 18 years being an apartment manager. I went back to school at UCF in Orlando, and I became an accountant. Once I graduated, I got what I considered to be one of the best jobs in the world, working as an accountant in corporate America. And soon things began to change. I left Orlando for my job and I lived in different cities and states because of my job. I met a great guy who eventually became my husband, and we were married for 7 years. At the same time, my kids were growing into their own. They started having families of their own and careers of their own, and I couldn't be more happy for them. After the pandemic, things started to change for me. One of the things that changed was the culture at my job. While I loved the work that I was doing, the culture in the facility that I was working in wasn't ideal for me, and I just did not like the environment. I did what I could to change, as the saying goes, be the change that you want to see in the world. But there's some things that are just beyond my reach. And I realized that. Switching to a different position in that company was an option for me. However, it didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to. And that's a story for another day. As these things sometimes do, I started growing apart in my marriage and what I considered to be a toxic relationship, and I wanted out. This was the point where I looked at my life and I realized I had been happy so many times in my life. As a kid growing up, as a married woman with 3 kids, I knew what happiness looked like, and this was not it. And so I decided this has got to change. I want to be happy again, and that is how I transitioned into what I consider now to be the happiest person in the world. Let me tell you this story. For me, happiness is not about luck. It's about aligning my life with what works best for me. Here's what that looks like in real terms. First, simplicity. I'm not all about stuff at all. I live now with just a suitcase and a backpack, and a small suitcase at that, a carry-on suitcase and a backpack. And I have everything that I need that makes me happy, the things that bring me joy. Having a closet full of clothes, a myriad of shoes, all the handbags in the world to switch out with different outfits, that stuff does not bring me happiness. Being able to be free of things is what makes me happy, and it declutters my brain, so I have less decision fatigue. I don't have to worry about spending hours and hours deciding what am I going to wear today, what outfits am I going to match up, do I need to replace this, do I need to replace that. Life is so simple, having a small wardrobe, having a condensed amount of luggage, because another thing too is I know everything I own. Most people cannot say that. Most people own thousands and thousands of items. where I can name off everything that is in my cabin, and if something goes missing or it's in the wrong spot, I know exactly what's going on. That makes life so much simpler for me. Simplicity at its best is one of the things that I believe makes me the happiest person in the world. Another thing is financial control. Living on a cruise ship is actually less expensive than most people think. And if you do like I do, and you can learn to string bargains together, you can live on cruise ships for as little as $2,000 a month. I could actually live less than that on the deals that I have, but I choose extras, for instance, and you may or may not consider these as extras or not, but I do. The basic fare for cruises, if I looked at that just by itself, I could be living on cruise ships for about $1,000 a month, but I include the extras like gratuities. So all in all, my cruise ship budget for living on cruise ships is $2,000, and then I give myself an additional $500 for miscellaneous things, for my cell phone, for my Netflix, for buying gifts for my kids and grandkids, and different things like that. Having a simplified life with control over my finances, knowing how much the cruises are, and that they afford me a lifestyle that's semi-abroad, because I get to go to different places all over the world and still be able to afford this lifestyle on what most people, the average American, pays for household expenses. I looked it up, and this year, or at least based on last year's expenses, the average American pays about $1,900 for household expenses. I'm living on cruise ships for $2,000 a month. So my lifestyle is in line with what the average American pays for household expenses. So to me, having that financial control is one of the things that is making me the happiest person in the world. Even though I travel, my daily routine is structured. I still get up every morning around 5 o'clock in the morning. Today, I got up at 3 o'clock. And some days it's like that. But I'm an early bird, and so my day is structured where I get up around 5 o'clock in the morning every morning. I get ready for my day. I walk the ship, do a 30-minute walk around the ship to get my steps in. I have breakfast, and then I enjoy the ship, and I do what I consider create content. So I'm doing things around the ship, but I'm also filming, and then I'm in my cabin doing editing, and then I have my structured meals as far as breakfast, lunch, dinner. I can occasionally get snacks when I want. So for me, because of my personality, I love the structure that is in my life, and I can do that without a problem living on cruise ships. The only caveat to that is when we have turnaround day, but even that is structured, because every time we do turnaround day, whether it's a 6-day cruise, a 5-day cruise, an 8-day cruise, I know what that turnaround day is going to look like. Either I'm going to be doing the back-to-back process, which I have lots of videos on the channel showing you the different back-to-back processes, and all ships and ports have different back-to-back processes. And then there are the times where I might decide to get off of the ship and go into town, go into port, go into the city, New Orleans, Manhattan, wherever the ship is docked at, and go and do a little shopping. But it's still structured in a way that I like it. So that is another thing that I love about my life living on cruise ships. My Myers-Briggs personality, mine is ISTJ, and so for me, I like things to be very structured, very organized, planned out in advance, and having a structured life definitely brings me joy. Life should be an adventure, going to new destinations, seeing new things, trying new experiences. All of that helps keep my spirit alive and keeps a smile on my face. I absolutely love that every few days I get to go to a new place and have a new adventure. Happiness isn't a mystery. Here's the formula that works for me. It could work for you too. Number 1, assess your life honestly. Is your current setup making you happy, or are you just coloring within the lines and just being comfortable? Eliminate what doesn't serve you. Do you have too much stuff, too many obligations, too much stuff that's not making you happy and bringing you joy? Well, just think about it. Think about everything that you have and think about, is this bringing me joy or not? Whatever is not, just cut it out of your life. Prioritize the things that make you happy and bring you joy. For me, it's travel, it's freedom, it's financial stability. I think that you should maybe brainstorm and take a inventory of what brings you joy, what brings you happiness in your life. Make a note of it and search for those things. Make it happen. And number 4, stick to a system that works. Me being an ISTJ, my logic is if something makes you happy, keep doing it. If it doesn't, change it. You don't have to live on a cruise ship to be happy. The key is just to find your happy place, that place that makes you happy, that brings you joy. I believe the key to happiness is smart choices and cutting out the things that don't bring you joy. Hopefully I've given you some food for thought and you realize now that you're already in your happy place and you're enjoying it, or you're not in your happy place and you're going to start making some changes to get to that happy place. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss another video. In the meantime, I am going to go and enjoy my life and make some more content for you to watch later on. In the meantime, check out this video right here. I have some practical tools in there that's going to help assist you get to your happy place. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below and I'll reply to them as soon as I can. I'd really like to know, have you made any changes recently to get you to your happy place? Let me know in the comments. I'm really interested. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day and I hope to see you on the next cruise.